I'm Jonathan, and this is Mapped Learning, a place to learn freely without ads or noise. Let's continue our journey. Today's special episode is a question from a friend of mine, Mike. But before we get started, I would like to showcase some information about him. This is Mike's page on Facebook, The Workshop, and he makes authentic equipment for Star Wars, helmets and costumes and other props. And specifically, there is a Boba Fett helmet that was showcased by Mark Anthony Austin, who played as Boba Fett in the special remake of Episode 4. So he showed this helmet on a YouTube clip, which I think was very awesome. And this is his IMDb page showing some clips. Additionally, that Boba Fett helmet was featured on Adam Savage's tested YouTube, where he showcased the helmet as well. And Mike has some pretty awesome credits for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Mandalorian, and John Wick Chapter 4. And I think Mike is just doing a great job. So his question is, would you upgrade your modem from an XB7 from Xfinity? I was curious if there was a better, more secure option, or if it was good enough as is since it's a Cisco modem, but it only seems to have WEP2 security. So when you're looking at differences between cable modems, there are different technical specifications that you want to look out for. So I have the different models from Xfinity brought up here on the webpage. And I also have a spreadsheet in the background that we're going to plug in some numbers. So with this XB7 that he has, it has 4 gigabit Ethernet ports. So let me pull that up. Gigabit Ethernet 4. It has Wi-Fi 6, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. The 2.4 gigahertz connected limit and 5 gigahertz is fine. You don't need more than 75. You only have probably a dozen. Maximum data throughput. So data throughput is 2.5 gigabits per second. Wi-Fi protected setup, not important. Telephone ports, of course, battery backup, cordless phones, so on and so forth. And these are just basic specifications. I looked up the model number, this one here, because this is what Xfinity uses. Now, Mike said Cisco, it doesn't matter the brand, they're going to put all sorts of names on there. The model number is what's important. So here we have some more specifications. And the first thing that pops out is DOCSIS 3.1 certified. Now, what does that mean? Well, here is the Wikipedia page, and yes, for technical information, Wikipedia is actually very accurate. So DOCSIS 3.1 was introduced in 2013, and it supports a maximum downstream capacity of 10 gigabits per second. But if we look at the specifications here, it has one 2.5 gigabit Ethernet LAN port or WAN port for wired connectivity. What does that mean? Well, let me show you. This right here is a modem and a router, but for this specific connection, when we're talking about 2.5 gigahertz WAN, we're talking about the modem portion. And this is the connection from Xfinity to the modem down. So when you're downloading information, this is directly from Comcast/Xfinity. Now, DOCSIS 3.1 supports up to 10 gigabits per second, but Xfinity, this modem supports up to 2.5 gigabits. However, if you go to Xfinity's website, the highest data plan that they have is for 1 gigabit. Okay, so this modem supports faster speeds, but you're only going to get 1 gigabit per second downstream. Now, for the upstream, DOCSIS 3.1 supports up to 2 gigabits per second, and that is from the modem up to Comcast Xfinity. So when you're uploading information. So this is a max of 2. What you actually get is going to be dependent upon Xfinity's plan. But 2 gigabits per second is more than enough. If their maximum download is 1 gigabit, you can almost guarantee that their upload is going to be slower because most internet service providers don't give a faster upload speed than they provide download. Now, if we go back to the technical specifications, we have 3 gigabit Ethernet LAN ports for wired connectivity. So what does that mean? Well, if we go back to this diagram, now we're talking about the router. So these modems from service providers are combination modem and router in the same box. So this is talking about the wired router connection from here to a computer. So you're actually running a cable. And this says that it has 3 gigabit Ethernet. So 1, 2, 3 to other computers. And these are each going to be 1 gigabit speed. Okay. And then further on, it says 802.11ax 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. Well, what does that mean? Well, here we see that it's Wi-Fi 6. Okay. If we look at Wi-Fi 6 here, AX that it was talking about has a link rate, data transfer speed of zero point 0.4 to 9,608 megabits per second. Okay. And if you see, Wi-Fi 6 and 6E are the same speeds. So what's the difference? Well, Wi-Fi 6 supports 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, but 6E supports 6 gigahertz. So when we look at this gateway that he has, it is Wi-Fi 6. So it doesn't support the 6 gigahertz. That's going to be new devices like brand new phones and new computers. Here we also have MoCA 2.0, and that's only important if you have TV. That stands for media over cable. So the rest of the technical specifications here is not very important. The rest of it is explained in the previous. So we're going to add some information here. This was Wi-Fi 6, we saw that. And the 3 gigabit Ethernet. This is gigabit Ethernet. Okay, so we have 4, but 1 is for the internet. And then wireless, you can connect as many as you want. The next step up from this modem is the XB8. So let's bring up our spreadsheet and compare. So we still have the 4 gigabit Ethernet. The Wi-Fi here is 6E. So remember, it supports 2.4 and 5 and 6. The data throughput is still 2.5 gigabits per second. And the rest is about the same. Let's get to the bigger specifications. We still have DOCSIS 3.1, so that's the same. And the rest of the specifications are about the same. So the only difference here is it has Zigbee radio and BLE, which is Bluetooth Light Energy. So, or low energy. And that's just to program it through your cell phone. So this isn't much of an upgrade in my opinion. The best one that they have right now is the XB10. So let's bring up the spreadsheet here and see what the XB10 has. 4 gigabit Ethernet. This has Wi-Fi 7. So what does that mean? Well, we look over here and Wi-Fi 7 supports all the same bands as 6E, but it goes from zero point 0.4 megabits per second all the way to 23,000. So that's going to be up to 23 gigabits per second over wireless. Okay, so that is extremely fast. So we'll say here that it's 23 gigabits per second wireless. Okay. And that's about, let's look at the technical specifications. Okay. This right here is the XB10 technical specifications. This is DOCSIS 4. Remember the other two were 3.1. What does that mean? So DOCSIS 4 was introduced in 2017 and it supports an upload of up to 6 gigabits per second. Now remember what I said earlier that Xfinity only gives you 1 gigabit down and up to probably 1 gigabit up or half or whatever. But if they increase their speed, this modem is going to be better for that. Well, let's keep going with the technical specifications. So this right here, it says two. Remember the other two had 3 gigabit Ethernet for the LAN inside the network. This has 2 that are 2.5 gigabit and 10 gigabit. Okay, so what does that mean? So if we go back to this diagram, if we look at this here, we saw that each wired connection was up to 1 gigabit. Well, this XB10 modem has 2 ports that are 2.5 gigabit and 10 gigabit. Now I'm going to tell you right now, most computers don't even have this. This is usually going to be for servers. However, as computers get faster, so do their network cards. So this XB10 modem is going to be extremely fast if you have the correct equipment. And then it has the two other ports that are the same as the others, up to 1 gigabit. So, in my opinion, going back to his original question of should he upgrade, I would say if Xfinity is offering an upgrade for free, I would take it. I would tell them I need the XB10. However, if you have to pay for the upgrade, I personally would pay for the XB10 depending on the price, but I would not pay for the XB8. Now, thank you for being here. If this helped you, share it with someone who's learning too. Everything I make is free, and if you want to support the mission, the links are below. I'll see you in the next one. And just to add, this was a Q&A session, and I will paste the links to my chat on my Substack where you can interface with me directly and ask questions like this, and I will create episodes to answer your questions and explain a bit more about the technologies involved. And thank you for watching.